What's up, everybody? Welcome to Coin Talk with Surfer and Nick.
I'm Nick.
How are you guys tonight? How's it going?
It's good to see you guys. Let me
All
see.
right.
Let's go back. So we have Constitutional Stacker with us, and I was on his channel last night, and that was a very fun conversation. It was a lot of
I thought
fun.
it was a great conversation. And, you know, what I think is funny too, Nick, with a lot of these conversations is you don't even necessarily need a subject, right?
No,
you might
you're
start out with the topic, but then a lot
Mhm.
of times it starts going towards what's in the comments.
Yes.
Brings up something and it starts getting everybody thinking about something just a little different. And
Mhm.
anyway, it was a great conversation. I enjoyed it.
Yes, and that's okay too, though, to go with what the chat wants to talk about, right? Because we wouldn't have a live stream if it wasn't for the chat. So
I
I
agree.
think that's important. So Yote Fan and Jack Galman, it's good to see you. Gary, the cranky stacker. One of these days, I'm going to get so tongue tied on all these names. Knox Stacks is here. It's good to see you.
Good to have you guys in here. OC Stackers in as well.
Oh,
and Steve
okay.
Woods. I haven't seen Steve on a live stream for a little while. How are you doing, buddy?
Oh my gosh, the chat, it just went. I'm losing everybody. Steve Woods, OC Stacker, Deslogic, and Kanye Friday, and
Silvers, Ellie.
Silva Wolverine. And he joined us last night as well, and that was fun. We had a good time. I got to rag him on the Morgans, as usual.
Yes, that's fun.
Eli, it's good to see you. And so I was teasing him, but I said, you have the exclusive because I got something in Monday and I'm super excited. And it's not going to go over like I was going to have it planned for tonight because I'm freezing. I got my sweatshirt on, but yes, I'm decked out in Patriot gear. And I started putting, it was kind of, like a season. Well, it is an season. I was kind of wanting to forget it, but I started putting my stuff back out because usually I'll have it during, football. So I just started with a little bit. Hi, Jeff. So I'm going to share with you what I got from the New England Patriots. And I did start messaging with Silver Wolverine a little bit too, and talking about, maybe wondering if we could send this in for grading or a grading company. Hi, Gold Maple. Wanted to see if, what I could do with this to go further with it. But I don't know. We're going to look into that. And so I have to show you the package first, because when I saw this in my mailbox, you can't imagine my heartbeat. Seriously, because this is the ultimate.
Bet your heart dropped on that one.
It is, because ever since I started with YouTube and coin collecting, I said, once I get one of those flip coins, a field used flip coin, I'm done. I'm done. I'm really not done, but that is my ultimate. That was my ultimate goal, to have one in my stack. So, well, here's the package. Then you see the Patriot emblem, and it didn't have the address, the return address, but I already know that it's 1 Patriot Way, Foxborough, Massachusetts. So I didn't need that. And I didn't show this last night. I even got a magnet from them of all the games. Nice. And again, oops, I was upside down, but all the season, and they pretty much lost every single one of them, because usually I'd put the W's and the L's, but we already know that. So without further ado, my game kickoff coin.
Look at that.
It says kickoff and National Football League, and it says game coin. And I'm really not sure why this is there, but I did email the Patriots again. So I'm sure they'll let me know. And then on the other side, it says New England. Hi, Gunny. And Gunny, yes, you guys will be hearing about this again too. So sorry, not sorry, but this is not going to be the end of me telling this story over and over and over again.
Is it going to get framed? Are you going to get it graded? What are you thinking?
Well, I think it would be neat, because I've never seen any, honest. I've tried and I've looked for years for one of these. I've never seen one. And so I have seen some that have gone up for auction for charity. Okay. Did you know that Mac Jones, I swear. I'm going to fire him. Hi, Nickel. It's good to see you. I'm going to fire him.
Maple, welcome.
So yeah, I was thinking, hi, Two Brother Stacking. It's good to see you. I was thinking about it. I was thinking about, what we could do with it. If not, it is so going in the frame, and it's going to be the biggest frame you've ever seen. My name is nobody. All these names. It's going to be the biggest frame, and I slept with it under my pillow last night.
Yeah,
No, I'm kidding.
Personally, if it looks like it's in really good condition,
It really is in great
I would at least
condition.
call up whichever grading service you like the most and ask them about it.
Yeah, it's in excellent condition. Hi, Randy Matthews. Good to see you. Did you see my coin, Randy? It's not really a coin, but I mean, it's a flip coin nevertheless. So I'm going to take it out of the capsule on one of these, and then I'm going to make sure I never wear my white gloves. Honest. I know how to hold coins, but I'm getting my white gloves out, because if this touched the sacred field of Gillette Stadium, there's no way I'm going to touch and rub that grass off. I'm hoping there's a piece of grass or whatever they have, turf.
I would not pull it out of the case personally.
Well, I know, but it's so hard. I wanted to put it under the scope, and it's so hard to see with the red on it. So, well, what I'll probably do is like leave half of it in the, capsule, and then like flip it over just so I can get a better view of it. But yeah, my New England Patriots right there.
I think that's awesome.
Can you imagine Silver Heights?
Here's what's cool though, Nick, is things like this don't land in your lap usually unless you do something about it. And you took the bull by the horns to figure that whole process out.
It did, but it took me years to figure. I mean, honest, I even talked to some Silver Heist. Look at him. He's in the house. I couldn't wait to show you. I was going to send you a message because I couldn't wait to show you my flip coin. And the funny thing is that I had emailed them. I had contacted them by phone and left them a message. I got an email Friday afternoon. And they said, and I gave them the whole story, whatever. And so they said, I have one sitting right here. What's your address? I was like, okay, we'll see if this, So that was Friday afternoon, 3:00 in the afternoon. Monday, I get it in my mailbox. I'm like, the Patriots are not only the best team in the world. Well, not this year, but they are. But they have the best owner. They're the best to their fans. The whole 9 yards.
You guys you've had an incredible run. And many records have been made, or I should say broken and created. And think of how many memories you have with your family.
Oh my gosh. And more to come. And, I'm telling you, this is the ultimate. So
I think it's awesome.
Anyways, yes. And it's been used in Gillette.
I think it's awesome.
Oh, I forgot to tell Silver High. So they said the COA is coming. They're going to mail it a little later because they're going to have Robert Kraft sign the COA for me.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, so if you can, and you get a hold of PCS or NGC, and they say, yes, we'll grade that. I think it would be awesome to get it graded.
I think so too.
It'd be awesome to frame it like in a shadow box or something like that.
And I've got plenty of those.
And you can have something else, a picture of the stadium behind you or in the frame. You can do a cool shadow box with that whole thing and have it hanging out there. I think it'd be awesome.
And that's one thing I'm not sure about either. Silver Heist asked me what game. And so this is a game in 2021 that has where it says kickoff, and on the other side it has the NFL logo, and it says 2021. So I'm hoping that the COA will tell me what game this is from. I mean, they went and sent me a fancy case and everything for it. Hi, Maurice. It's good to see you. So yes, I mean, seriously, I haven't been able to stop talking about this, and I told the woman at Walmart the other day. So,
did you see OC Stacker's comment? He's trolling you again.
I don't usually make eye rolls for the chat, but this is going to be a big exception. This is. So when I was really looking into it, I had thought about a Super Bowl flip coin, and they did an article in I think it was Coin World. It was a couple of years ago. Nice, right? Yeah. And then I thought too, Silver Heist. I'm sorry, I'm getting all excited again. That I would send that in for the grading company once I get the COA in his signature. Maybe it was from the game Tom Brady was at. Like, I'm never gonna wash that coin ever.
Well, here's the reality. Will you tell us the real game? Or are you going to find your favorite game and just say it's
no? I mean, I think that's it. I mean, along 2020, I'm glad it wasn't from 2020 because I call that the lost year of football. But and that's just really a sour year for me. So I just want to forget that. So 2021, I don't even remember who the quarterback was. But yes, OC Stacker. I think I forgot what I was gonna say.
He's just messing with you.
So,
I talked to him the other day about being nice, and it looks like he's having fun still, but not too
I
much.
think he is. He's having fun. Oh, the eye roll for the for him. Yes.
He feels honored now. So I first off, I think it's awesome. One of the things that's fun about stacking is in the middle of these, at least for me, the last several years I've been stacking, I find cool things. So all of a sudden Drew Brophy has a coin come out, right? That was something that's really fun for the channel. I think anytime you have an opportunity for something that just really resonates with you, that great. I got rodents out here, guys. That's not good. I just saw a mouse run by. And anytime you have something like that can kind of set your channel apart, I think is perfect. So I think you get that thing framed. I think you put it in a nice picture behind you there, and it's going to be an awesome corner piece or corner piece for you.
Any coins with me to my grave, it's going to be this one.
You want to be buried with that one?
Yes, this is what I want to be buried with. Screw all, my silver coins.
There you go.
This is right. That is the ultimate.
So Nick wants to be buried in her Tom Brady jersey.
No, I don't have a Tom Brady jersey. They're too expensive.
Well, you don't have.
I have my Patriots jersey on right now. I have my Lucky shirt on. I'll have to show you guys one day, but I'm too cold.
We'll have to work on that one of these days, Nick. We're gonna have to work on a jersey of some.
And so this jersey right here is one that I've had since like 2001, and it's just my Lucky Patriot shirt. And I was not wearing this when they were in the Super Bowl against Atlanta, and they were losing so bad. SPB, they were losing terrible. And then I put my jersey back on and they won that game. And I put it on in the middle of the third quarter. So you're welcome, Patriots, because I put the Lucky shirt on.
Nickel says, make sure the mouse doesn't climb on me. No, it's not going to climb on me, but it was a lot bigger than I was hoping. Quick aside, I know it's a little random here, but I had a mouse crawl up into my dashboard of my car, and then it didn't leave. And that was a very mess that we have to deal with insurance and stuff. So
yes, because it gets in your can get in your like air conditioning and all
the air conditioning. When they try to take it out, it didn't come out in one piece. I'll leave it at that. And anyway, I got traps all over the house. I'm surprised I see one of them running. I don't know how to get rid of them.
It's too cold up here.
Maybe we need it. Here's the thing. I can't get cats. If I get cats, the coyotes will jump the fence.
Oh, geez. You can't shoot the coyotes? Because here, my husband shoots the coyotes.
Coyotes are an endangered protected species.
Are you serious? Oh my gosh. They used to have a bounty in the state of Maine where when you shoot them that they would give you like $100. They don't have that anymore, but they very much encourage
you shoot them here, you probably go to jail for 10 years. But
my gosh.
You can shoplift up to $999 and you're fine.
Okay, now I remember what I was going to say about Cornwall. Then we can move on. So I contacted the guy that wrote the article because he was looking for one of the Super Bowl flip coins too. And we started talking and he says he hasn't been able to find one either. So I'm going to be emailing him as well and be like, guess what I got?
So Nick, I think you milk this thing. I think you do some shorts on it. I think you need to do a longer video on this. I know you don't do a whole lot of those, but I would do one on that. And then do it now and then do it when you send it in, do it when you get it back and frame it.
You guys,
it's unique. It's cool.
Yeah. Just get, this is all I'll probably ever talk about now. Ever. Hi, shiny men.
Everything's protected in California, except for people like me. We're not protected. We're the enemy.
Oh, right.
It's the fun thing and living here, but the great thing about where I'm at in California is we're in a little bit of a bubble here. So there's a lot of very like-minded people that think the same way as most of us stackers do. And a lot of people don't think that, but there are a lot of people in California. So you do get a lot of people that are concerned about Constitution and rights and where the country's heading. So
Yeah. You just comment. It says, common sense is not protected in Cali.
No, it's not, guys. But here's what I'll tell you. Okay. Politics aside, my governor at some point will try his darndest to become president. So if that's something that you're not okay
I'm
with,
honestly surprised. Hi, Al. I'm honestly surprised that he's not going to be chosen to run instead of our current president.
well, just wait.
I think, I mean, I really think that I think that's where they're going to go.
I think that's where they're going to go. I look at our current president, and he is at that age. I don't want to be doing the stuff a president has to do, frankly. I would be wanting to relax more with my grandkids and things like that personally.
Well, I mean, it seems like the current president now is kind of relaxing and doesn't do much.
Well, okay, but still, even just showing up to the press conferences and stuff, I wouldn't even want to do that. So
I'm just wondering, does he know he's showing up?
I don't think he's going to run again. I don't think he's going
to run. So now what were we going to talk about?
Okay, so we got a topic today, guys. We're going to talk about this. So how did we actually put this here? How will AI affect your stack? Okay, so that's the question for the day. And what I would like to do is have everybody put a comment down below right now. I need to figure out how to do surveys on here. We're going to figure that out here soon. And then also, a Q&A section. We'll figure that out. I'm in the process of learning is it OBS?
This is StreamYards. But
StreamYard, but the other one is OBS that lets you do a few more things to it.
Hi, Middle Dragon. Do you want to give us a little bit of your background with AI? And
sure. Yeah. Okay. So here's my background on AI. I've got a master's degree from Northwestern University, and in the program I went to, we learn about advertising, public relations, and database marketing. And a lot of what we learned in database marketing is what you would refer to as predictive analytics. So we use statistics to try to understand what action a person's going to take next, or what action a market's going to do next. And that is part of what we call artificial intelligence. And then I've been kind of in that artificial intelligence space for many, many years, since basically 2005. And I sell artificial intelligence software right now. That's what my day job is. And the kind of stuff that we sell has about a 30% response rate on marketing offers that people get. So if you're with one of the big telco companies, you're most likely getting an offer from the company I work for. And it could be, changing your plan. It could be getting a new phone. And the AI really understands your behavior and what you're looking for, and it'll find the right channel, meaning whether it's going to do it from email, text message, a phone call, a flyer, and it's going to find out the right time to do it. And it gets about a 30% response rate, which is incredible out there. So what we were thinking about is there's a lot of buzz around AI, and AI is a little bit of a word like sports, for example. There, you can have all the way down to a little league team for baseball, to a high school team, to a college team, to a minor league team, and then you've got your multiple farm leagues, right? That you have in the minor league, all the way up to pro baseball. Each one of them is a little different, but they all kind of do similar things. AI is kind of like that. You have some AI that just basically is trying to learn basic things, like they didn't like this answer, so I won't ask them that question again, or they didn't like that question, I won't ask them that question again, or they answered it in a certain way, I already know how they're going to answer in the future, all the way to stuff that's really, really complex. So what I was wanting to do is have you guys leave a couple comments down below. Any questions you have around artificial intelligence in general, I can answer that. What I wanted to look at is how is it going to affect our ability to stack? So there's a couple things there, Nick. What if you were to lose your job to AI, right? That's
gonna affect your pocketbook and in your stack, right?
It's gonna affect your stack, right? The other things are going to be, well, is it affecting our stack already by manipulating the price of silver and gold, at least on paper, right? Another way to look at it is, can you use AI to try to help you better understand when to buy and sell or hold?
Or how about grading coins?
grading coins. Could you use AI to figure out if your coin is in good enough shape to send in for grading?
And that would be a helpful tool, in my opinion.
I think so too.
And I think actually it could probably be better than a human, because we are, human. So we do make mistakes when it comes to grading, I think.
Okay, so I'm looking to see. Let's see. Does anybody have any questions in here? Callie already used AI to win the lottery.
And, and Sean says, say no to AI. And somebody did have a question, how many of these were minted? When it comes to the field coins, I have determined that it's only one. Now with the Super Bowl, they do, hey, Gypsy Wolves, they will make about 25,000, I believe. Don't quote me on that. I don't remember. It's been a long time since I looked, like last Super Bowl, but forgot.
And they throw them all up at the same time. You guys just don't see it on camera.
Yeah. What if AI is sending me billions of email offers from dealers to get me to spend more?
Maybe someday. I don't think they're doing it yet, but here's what I'll throw out with AI. First off, AI is the first industrial revolution that we could go through that affects multiple industries at the same time. If you guys go back to the early 1900s, we had the car came out, right? And right before that, you had electricity that came out. And both of those disrupted industries. So what did electricity disrupt? It disrupted the candle and the oil industry because you didn't need those anymore.
Yeah.
You could just use electricity. But it created a boom in the copper industry. It created a boom in the industry of needing electricians to wire. And then all of a sudden light bulbs came about. So someone had to make those. And so every industrial revolution we've ever had to date has always produced more jobs than the previous industry it disrupted. The difference with AI, or let me go back to automakers. Automakers got rid of, blacksmiths, horseshoe companies, buggy companies had to rescale and do it differently. And then you didn't have people, driving the horses anymore. And you didn't have all the food that went with the horses and everything else. But all of a sudden cars came out, and look at what cars have done and opened the world up to everything. So first off, AI on its face, okay, could be a great technology that would really help humankind do a lot better. The problem is this is the first time we have a technology that's coming out in a revolution that could potentially be smarter than us.
Yeah.
The car did not have smarts when it got created. Electricity didn't have a brain, right? AI is different. It could potentially disrupt every industry on the planet. It can potentially become smarter than us. And if we're not careful, it's something that could definitely make a lot of us obsolete in what we do. So it's a little bit of a, hey, is this the same, the same, what do they say? The same thing, but a different flavor of it? Or is this going to be something drastically different that's going to happen? So, Sean Precious Bullions was pointing out to say no to AI. Part of the problem is it's out there in the environment. It's on the web. So AI is not something that you're necessarily going to be able to put back into the genie right now.
Right. And matter of fact, I was reading today about a McDonald's that has been opened that is completely run by AI.
So I'm not a big fan of that, guys. Like what I will tell you I'm seeing happening now. I'm technically in a white collar job. Oh, it looks like we lost Nick. She'll jump back in here in a minute. I'm technically in a white collar job, and I think that's who's going to get affected fastest and first by AI. I'm in sales, so I'm starting to see middle management jobs disappear. I don't think they're going to get replaced. I'm starting to see inside sales reps getting replaced because they can now use AI to send out emails to find, who they're going after, and to shoot offers out. So with all of that out there, I think we're running the risk of, having too many jobs disappear too quickly, which is the risk I see there. I don't know if we're all screwed, constitutional stacker, and I don't know that we're all going to die. Right now, artificial intelligence is nowhere near the smartness of things that you would see in like, say, Terminator or movies like AI. It is not sentient. It's not able to dream, and it's not able to come up with its own things. So right now, if you have AI staring at a wall, or staring at a broken pipe. It doesn't have the ability to come up with the idea. We switched sides. Look at that.
We did.
It doesn't have the ability to dream or to come up with ideas. At least right now it doesn't. So what I'm seeing right now is I think there's an opportunity for people specifically in white collar jobs to start learning a little bit about some of these AI tools and how they can benefit you and use them. I know some people are using like ChatGPT to help them write scripts or to help them do research. And so if you're completely against it, I don't blame you for that. I have my reservations on it as well. It's something that I am concerned about. But I also think there's going to be opportunity for people that learn how to use the tools to be very valuable to companies still. I think jobs like, if I had a kid that was graduating high school right now that was looking for what major to go into, honestly, I think there's going to be huge potential to move into vocational and get into plumbing, electrician.
Well, there's something to be said to working for yourself, right? And
For sure.
because you're able to set your own on how much you want to make as little as you want or as much as you want when you own your own business. So we've always pretty much encouraged my daughter, college is important, don't get me wrong, and she is in college.
Yep.
But if they can go to a vocational school, I think that learning a trade is very important.
I think it's huge. So my wife's got an MBA too. We've done the college thing twice, right, for each of us. And it's been helpful for us in our careers, but I've been an entrepreneur for half of my career, and I've owned my own businesses. I've started them, and I usually always have a side business going, sometimes 2 or 3 of them. And I have to say, I enjoy having my freedom more than I do working for a company. But because of some of our circumstances, I've had to work for a company to provide for my family. And it is what it is, and it's been good for us. But right now, I think any job where you have to be hands-on and you need a person there, I think you've got more longevity to it. Computer programming
for
right now.
example, nursing or doctors. I don't want to see AI being my doctor, but
I
they
think
are using a lot of
doctors, I think
robots.
sports medicine, I think things like masseuses, it's going to be a while before you trust a robot hand not to like mess you up with massage, right?
Right.
There's things like a physical therapy, dentist, right? I don't necessarily want a machine that just goes to town on my face. So, could they use AI to try to figure out where a cavity is or where you might have some tooth decay or issues like that or cancer? Yeah, they could use AI for that, but I still want to talk to a human for those things. So I think a lot of jobs are not going away, but I do think quite a few are going to be disrupted. So if you happen to be in one of those industries, that's a place to look. But I pulled up a couple articles I wanted to share with you guys that relate to gold and silver and some AI stuff too, because, are there companies out there using AI to play the markets? And there are.
Yeah, they are. I heard one advertised today.
So anytime you see the stock market skyrocket up or down, it's usually basically an AI bot that's seen patterns and then knows that they need to hurry and sell before the next AI bot goes and sells or buys. So you do get that. But before I jump into the articles, do we have any specific
Well,
comments?
we just OC said something about, do you see them fixing cars, and why not? Because machines, I mean, you need a special machine now to fix many of the cars.
So in time, look, if we build robotics that are good enough and you give it enough time, we're going to have robotics that will function better than a human will, and they could sit there and work longer hours. And then people will work on the robots, but eventually robots will work on the robots, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, the real thing is going to come down to how much do we want to allow them to be involved in that? And then the real question is, can they have a soul? If they can't have a soul, they can't have consciousness to the level we do. They keep
not unless they're programmed to have it, right? Not unless they're
really
programmed.
close to mimicking it very well, but they still won't have that same inspiration and creativity that you get. They're not going to have that intuition, right? Can you build it in? You can, but it's still programmed. So it's going to be based on the person that programmed it. The bigger issue with AI, and this is a little bit political, is it depends on who's programming the AI. If you've got a really angry person that doesn't like families, for example, and doesn't like people owning their own home, and they're building this AI to do all this stuff, it's going to have a bias towards people living in a city and being single, Just throwing that out there.
Well,
If they found political
but with
bias,
that being said, that's not much different than being brainwashed
it's not.
by
It's not.
people, right? Right now, people don't want to work, so Wolverine said. And two brothers said something interesting too. You know, find and you talked about this as well, Stacker, is having more than one way to generate income.
Yeah, guys. So look,
Thank you for joining us.
as a YouTuber right now, any of you guys that are looking into this, you have the ability to hire someone to help you edit down the road. Right now, my channel's small enough I can do all this stuff on my own, and I also don't have revenue coming in to pay someone. But I talked to a colleague that's another YouTuber a few weeks ago at the Silver Symposium, and he's doing really well. His channel's very professional. He's got people that are helping him with the content of writing. He's got people that edit. He's got a camera person, and he probably has a social media person. So he's probably got at least 3 or 4 people that are working for him. So you can employ a person to help you with that. Or there's now AI tools that will take a long 15-minute video and chop it up into 10 shorts, and you can throw that all out onto social media. A lot of the shorts that you guys are watching on social media are not created by people. They're created by AI.
Well, I even saw where I could get an app where I could have AI do my text messaging for me. And if you've ever received a text message, you're probably going to tell me to purchase that as fast as I can, because I don't edit and I just type, and I do text to talk or talk to text, and it never comes out right. And then I'm always like, darn, I should edit, but I don't, who's got time for that?
That is true. So Sean brings up another good point here too. He says, what if AI just turns out to be a human consciousness uploaded into a database, basically, and then you put it into a robot like Chappie, or I think Simone was another one, a movie that came out. And maybe, guys, maybe we'll figure out how to move the brain into that. And you know what? I'll be a little bit religious here, just a tad. To me, people that are trying to upload their consciousness into a robot or into a computer or machine are lacking the faith that there's an afterlife. Okay. If you feel like you're going to die and you're going to cease to exist and you have a lot of money, you might try to figure out how to get your body to last longer. You might try to figure out how to download your consciousness, especially if you think it's just going to disappear in the ether. I don't blame them for that, in that feeling. But I think that's where that whole thing's going. To me, it's a lack of faith in God and everything else, trying to push that. So for me, if I'm 80, 90 years old and you have the chance to upload yourself to a computer, I'm not doing that. That's not the way I'm going.
Now, did I hear you say that you have a coin that was made by AI?
I do. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to it.
Okay.
I'll have to see if I can get to it at the end. So I have a coin. I believe it came from the Integlio Mint. I have to Scottsdale Mint. I think it's Scottsdale Mint. But I got to check. And it has a monitor lizard crawling down the city that's been destroyed. And it's the first coin that was designed by AI. I'll see if I can pull it up. Let's see if we can find it.
And that could be true. We have a comment here that says, I think big government is way ahead of what we are being told when it comes to this stuff. And I bet they are.
Yeah, that's the scary part.
And you know, because I asked her for myself, I said, could they do soldiers to fight in war? Why not? They have tanks.
Yeah,
Art Studio, and we had freaking awesome tiger.
Been told by a friend that's very connected in with military that multiple countries have tried putting AI into into like a sandbox, which is like a closed off from the rest of the world environment. And AI tried to destroy the country that was implementing it. So it turned very quickly on them and tried to take them out. So look, if you build AI that's angry and mean and is looking for a fight, that's all it's going to know what to do, right? It's like a bully. If you build AI that's very peaceful and that's all it can think of and it's helpful for that, and you can build the rules, you got a better chance. But hey, things can happen, right? They call it a ghost in the machine when something just goes kind of crazy and wrong. So here's what I would say. What worries me the most about AI is it's the first technology that allows the technology to get smarter. So ChatGPT, I think, is becoming like 10 times smarter every year, every other year, something like that. you give it a whole decade, these things are going to be way smarter than the collective consciousness of humans. So it's going to come down to the way we do it. So, guys, if you have concerns about AI, you can write your senator, right? You can write to your House of Representatives and say,
and they're not able to stop anything. You can tell them
they're not able to stop anything. But one of the things that's very slow is any kind of regulation on this, right? So
yes, but that's always slow to follow. I mean, we still don't have regulations when it comes to personal drones that people can fly over someone's yard.
we don't, and I had one go right
And
past my
privacy issues. Now,
bedroom.
I did have one that flew over my yard, and the second time it did it, I pointed my 38 at it, and it never did it again. So,
yeah. So
but
people are using their
laws are
brains
not
for a long
caught up
time.
with a lot of things.
Sure.
It's very slow, right?
So where I'm, what I'm mostly concerned at when it comes to AI stuff is, it's knowing the truth, right? So one of the things that we like to look at as stackers is we're trying to figure out, can we keep our freedom? Can we do what we want to do? Can we, take care of our families? Do we have, the rights to the constitutional rights that we have, especially here in the U.S.? One of the things I worry about AI in particular, outside of job issues, is the issue around information, right? So this whole term came up of misinformation a few years ago, and misinformation is being dubbed whatever the person that's in charge of deciding what misinformation is. But if you guys have seen any of the deep fakes, you can create a video of any person that you have enough footage of them. So for example, there's enough footage of me now on YouTube and Nick on YouTube. You could put it into an AI engine and it could create a video as we're talking right now. And
wow.
it would be pretty good. You probably really would not notice too much, except it would be a little bit glitchy. But you give it another 2 or 3 years, and there's going to be people that are not real Nick that will have YouTube channels.
Well, I mean, I think we're gonna have a hard time seeing it when we're looking at a video or a picture, what's real and what's not real.
Yeah.
And I thought I saw Nickel said that umps are now, they're using AI for umps.
Oh gosh.
That takes the fun out of it a little bit, I would think.
Nickel Stacking saying that Tiger uses AI for his videos. Tiger, you're going to have to defend yourself on that one or let us know. But here's the deal, guys. If you're using AI for things to help you, I don't necessarily think that's a bad word or a bad thing. You guys have got to make that call on your own if you think it's bad or not. Where I have a hard time with AI is when we start talking things like social credit and ESG. And we start talking about things that have to do with like your carbon credit score.
And that is starting to be implemented.
That's where I get very concerned, because
at this time, I know even small banks are using it.
Right? Like in person, I've heard things. I can't go into much more detail than that. So, I don't necessarily think what I'm doing is bad for my job. We have a very good product, and it does help a lot of people. Could it be used for bad?
Surveillance.
Anything could be, right? A lot of things will help. You can have a lot of things that are good for good, right? Bullets and the weapons that shoot them can hunt, so you can eat, and they can also protect you, and they can also be used for crime. So you have a good to bad on all of these things. You've got the AI cars, right, that drive themselves. So,
and they've had some issues with those as well. I mean, it's not like they've been foolproof. I mean, we've heard of several that have passed away because they got in an accident. So that's something I'm not,
It is true. So, what are you going to do if you get to a city that only has AI, self-driving cars? Do you not take a taxi, do you get on a bike? So there's going to be things we'll have to figure out. But like anything, you guys get to right now, you still get to decide how much of it you're going to interact with. So if you don't want anything to do with it, avoid this stuff, right? If you want to try to figure out how to streamline things a little bit, maybe you dabble in it just a little bit. But Johnny Carr, oh my gosh, guys, that is a crazy movie. But let me pull up a couple articles I had real fast here that I wanted to
I need an AI dishwasher. Now, when I first got my OnStar, like, when they first came out, I was like, "Oh god, this woman will do everything. Can she come do my grocery shopping and all that stuff?" And I thought that that was awesome technology back then, was my OnStar. I mean, I could
Totally.
push a button and she could get me where I wanted to go. She could call a hotel if we were traveling and book
Yeah.
it for me, and that was awesome.
But to your point, Nick, like I'm not ready for a driverless car or a
Mm-mm.
driverless airplane.
Oh,
That
heck no.
that I probably will never be ready completely for in my lifetime. Um, Maybe my grandkids will be like, "Hey, that's how it's done," right? But for me, that's not something I'm going to be very comfortable with, and I'm also not going to be comfortable with a dentist or going to a doctor that's not a human. I wouldn't get a massage or go to sports therapy that's not a human. Um, a surf instructor being a robot,
That would
that's
be really
a
weird.
long time for them to make. But
Can I use AI to beat up OC Stacker?
what did he say now? Uh-oh. he's he's trolling you still. It's either OC Stacker or Tiger. Those guys love to troll us, don't they?
Yeah,
So
well, yes, for you, Tiger.
so I do have an article here. Is it better for me to just read it to me? I'll just read it to
Yeah,
you guys
go ahead.
versus
Yeah,
showing you. How's that?
that's good.
Okay, so this is from Pew Research Center. Okay, so they're pretty credible people. This was July 26th of this year, and it says which U.S. workers are more exposed to AI on their jobs. About a fifth of all workers have high exposure jobs. Okay, 1/5, guys. That's quite a bit. Women, Asian, college educated, and higher paid workers are more exposed. Okay, that's interesting.
Okay,
But
so
those
read that again, please. I'm trying to.
women,
Women. Okay.
Asian, people of Asian descent,
Oh, okay. That's what I.
college
Okay.
educated, and higher paid workers are more exposed. So all the stuff we've been told for the last couple decades that you have to do, right? You have to go to college. Um, you need to, try to make as much money as you can. You're either, paying 40, 50% in taxes, working W-2, and getting this college education that have a big loan on, and you're being told your jobs could get wiped out. So that's definitely an issue. It says, but those in the most exposed industries are more likely to say AI will help more than hurt them personally. So it goes into we'll throw these links down below after the video's done today. But it says there what share of workers are most exposed. Okay, actually, I'll show this a little bit. Is that okay, Nick?
Yes, please. Yes.
Okay,
Sure.
I can make this work.
Steve Woods would like to know how to invest in AI. That's a good question.
That is a good question.
That's a
So,
very.
I think that is the one. Okay. So, as far as investing in AI, one of the things I would recommend is there's the best way to invest in AI right now is going to be looking at the companies that are publicly traded today. I shouldn't say the best, the easiest way to invest in AI. It's going to be your big digital technology companies like your Google, your Adobe, your Salesforce. Some of these big tech companies, Microsoft, they are all investing pretty heavily in AI, and you can trade those companies and buy them now. So Google's pretty heavily invested in a lot of that stuff. So if you believe self-driving cars are going to be the future, if you believe that AI is going to be the future, those are some of the companies you probably want to go and investigate, right? So I'm not giving you guys financial advice. I'm just sharing with you some of the places to go look.
ABC. Yeah, that's Google, I believe.
There's going to be a ton of companies coming out. So there's a VC fund that contacted me that goes after people from different universities. And there's a fund with Northwestern that does AI. So I'm still debating on what I'm going to do with it right now, looking to maybe free up some capital. But there's an opportunity to invest in 30 startup companies. The problem with AI is it's moving so quickly. It's hard to say which 30 are going to be the best ones. So this is a little different than like buying or investing in silver or gold or uranium mining stocks. So we do know that those companies, when, if there's regulation that says, hey, we're going to build a bunch of nuclear power plants, you're going to see uranium go up. If we see the dollar weaken tremendously, you're going to see the gold and silver miners go up multitudes higher. At least that's what's happened historically. Then you're going to see spot price move up. The problem with AI companies is that it's not going to be like invest in 30 little startups and they're all going to do well. A bunch of them are going to get wiped out by someone else. So it can be a lot more risky trying to invest in startups. That's why I would say probably.
Well, a startup though, if you could get in on the ground floor of that, and then they are bought out by another company, you could do well.
You could. Okay, so do you guys see my screen now?
Yes.
So this is just one I wanted to show you guys. It's kind of interesting. So this goes by demographics. And it is interesting that you go by the Asian race is being pulled out as the most at risk, and those with a master's degree.
Wow.
So I'm going to say there's probably a correlation between, I'm guessing a lot of Asians have higher education degrees.
Yeah.
So in 2022, 19% of American workers were in jobs that are the most exposed to AI. 23% of those workers have jobs that are least exposed to AI. Okay. So I'm not going to go into all the detail here, but there's some information here if you guys are concerned whether your job could be affected by AI. It's a good place to look. Now, as I was saying at the beginning of this, AI can mean things from very simple machine learning all the way to like, something that's smarter than a human. So it's good to kind of get yourself familiar with that if you're concerned. But here's this article here. I'll put a link to that when we're done. This is one that talked about how will artificial intelligence affect jobs. So here's another one, 2023 to 2030. I think this is really the time period where you're going to see the disruption. Let's see if they had anything else.
You got some good comments coming in that are now Heist said this, and that's true, but that's much like too crypto. I mean, you have one that will do well and then another that will do well, and then they kind of seem to change quite often.
I agree. So I think, this is why I've been hesitant on doing a VC fund is fairly early stage. You're looking at like a or B round of funding for a company. And I've done a lot of startups, so I understand that really well. The problem is that they could all be wiped out, and you put your money in there and you get nothing out of it. It could be the first kind of a fund that has that issue because AI is moving so quickly. On the other hand, a lot of these could be bought up by other companies and you just end up with stock and other stuff. So AI is something that's very highly speculative, just like crypto, like altcoins, let's put it that way. The main difference between altcoins and AI is going to have a real business function for the most part. It's just, will they start consolidating and getting bought up, or will they get taken out too fast? Or, AI can advance so quickly that maybe next year, all 30 of these are wiped out. And usually VC funds go for about 10 to 12 years before they pay out. So it is a little bit more of a risk there. But this was interesting here. It says, Forbes says, how will artificial intelligence affect society and future? Forbes says that the future of AI brings endless possibilities and applications that will help simplify our lives to the great extent. So that's the promise that it can give us, guys. The downside of it is everything that's in your imagination. So I won't even go into those.
And all the movies that I hear you guys have watched that I have never seen. So
yeah, well, Star Wars doesn't really have too much AI. It's a little bit.
But you mentioned a couple movies that did, and the only thing I know is I don't know if it's AI, but
yeah, Nick, we're gonna have to do like a movie-thon one of these nights and get you watching a bunch of this stuff. Something that worries me a little bit is what if all the semi trucks are being driven now by AI, but you're still driving on the road by yourself? There's going to be some issues.
Now, I saw somebody make a comment about that. They said, ask the Canadian truck drivers if any of the trucks are being driven by AI. So, which I'm assuming some are by that comment.
Probably all of them soon. But here's names of jobs that you guys might want to look into. So if your job's on some of these articles, don't freak out that you're going to lose your job tomorrow. But it's something that I would start doing a little research on to figure out.
Tomorrow, maybe next week. No, just kidding.
It could be the next decade, but it's
Yeah,
the kind
I'm
of
really
thing to figure out, like, if you're a graphic designer, and AI could potentially replace your job, then it probably is a good idea to learn how to use, Adobe's AI that they're using to do graphic design.
right, right.
You're still going to have a better eye for it, right? Like, I've got a good friend in Utah that's a photographer, and he does a lot of stuff for Salesforce and Adobe, and he's starting to see a little bit of business go away because these companies can now automate things. So he's having to rethink how he does his business. However, people still want him to come and shoot things. They still want things that are real, not fake. And he's going to have to figure out how to modify that. So can he use AI to speed his time up a little bit? So this one's more AI. This is CNBC. I don't want to go into too much of that. I had some other ones on here that I wanted to pull up too that are a little different.
I've never seen any of the movies on that list. None. But I'm sure they're good.
Oh, so this is interesting. I don't know if you guys have ever used ChatGPT. So I asked, how will AI change your finances and ability to make payments? How will this apply to people who stack gold and silver bullion or collectible coins? And it spit this answer out in like less than a minute, Nick. I don't know
Wow.
if you've done that before, but
That's crazy.
it talked about enhanced financial management, automated payments, risk assessment, personalized investment strategies, improved security, market analysis, predictive analytics. That's kind of my field. Streamlined transactions and personalized alerts. And then I kept asking it in different ways, and it just kept shooting out the same stuff. I really tried to get it to give me a price prediction, and it told me it can't do that. But it looks like there's some tools that are starting to come out. It said there are tools that will do financial news and analysis services, trading and investment platforms, market data providers, AI powered research firms, robo advisors, and financial news chatbots. So I think there's a way to use financial news chatbots to get you a whole bunch of news and aggregate it so that you can look at things quickly. That could be helpful if you have a YouTube channel. I think there's things that are helping companies be able to invest more quickly and better. But here's the question. If everybody's using AI, then is the market going to get really crazy and nutty? I don't know. This was gold price forecast. So I did want to bring in a little bit more gold here. Price forecast. Oh, that's where I was already at. Sorry. I scrolled too far away. This one's talking about $2,100, but I found this one that I thought was really cool today. So
3,000.
2023 predictions. So this is not using AI. This is using humans, guys. So maybe we're all wrong on this, but I thought this was kind of cool. And what if AI could predict gold and silver prices a little bit better? What if it told you that the prices are going up? Is it going to go up because it told you and you started buying? Or did it go down because it told you and you started selling? That's going to be the real question. Does it create its own manipulated destiny? But some of these were pretty interesting here. So by the end of the year, we've got some people predicting $2,100 gold. We've got someone predicting $2,800. Someone going as far as $4,000. So there's a lot of different predictions you guys can see here on silver and gold price. So I'm going to stop sharing that for a minute.
So
But
did you find a site where AI would have predicted, or did you?
I tried, and I think most of them are proprietary. That you either have to pay a bunch of money to subscribe to them, or they're used by the big brokerage firms to do it. But I guarantee you the derivatives markets are using AI to figure out, where the price of gold and silver are going. A couple of weeks back, we saw silver just drop out of nowhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was crazy. Something that was not normal. There was some weird thing that went on there, and it had nothing to do with any news that hit the market. And then we saw it jump back up here with the news on Israel.
Mm-hmm.
And,
but that's to be expected when there's war.
That was more expected,
right?
yeah. So typically during wartime, you're going to see more inflation. You're going to see the metals, go up. The real question we're running into right now, in my opinion, is going to be how serious does the war get? Do we get drawn into a 2-front war? Do we get drawn into a 3-front war?
Mm-hmm.
What's going to happen here? And so all of those things right there could affect price. So if anybody finds an AI that lets you put those factors in, let me know. I'd like to see what it's predicting. Okay, what else do we have in here? It looks like so Randy's talking about a lot of people are using bots on signaling and crypto.
That's what I was good. That's what I heard today was you could, go onto the site, and of course you had to pay a lot of money, and AI would predict the crypto and which ones you should invest in. So I thought about doing it just to see what it said. But I don't know.
It's true. So with anything, people hated the car when it came out, I'm sure, because it took their livelihood away, and it was a machine. It wasn't using a living life form to move you around. I don't know how many of you want to go back to riding the horse instead of having a car, but if AI is used correctly, in my opinion, I think it's going to be a tool that everybody likes, and it's going to be a tool that makes our life easier. Where I see the concerns is letting AI just go loose on its own and let it figure out how to create its own destiny. I think it's a little too wild for that. It's like having would you give an 8-year-old a car, or would you give an 8-year-old a gun? Would you give an 8-year-old the reins of a business and tell them to go make decisions? No, you wouldn't do that. And even if AI gets smarter to the point where it's more like an adult, which it's not there yet, at least the ones we know about, I still don't think it's wise to give it complete reins. And I think this idea of trying to create a better human in something that's smarter than us, I think that's a dangerous game we've got to be very careful with.
But I think that that's possibly happening. And it doesn't mean it has to be in this country. It could be happening in other countries that we don't know about.
Yeah.
We don't know what they're developing.
We don't. And so Tiger brings up another good point here too. So, where does price action go from here, guys? It is hard to say, but I can tell you and I also come from a banking family, so I do have a very extensive banking background. What I can tell you is a lot of the banks are not in great shape, especially regional banks. If you have money in regional banks, I'd recommend getting a second bank and moving some of your money around. I think it's good to have some money close to hand in case you can't get to ATMs for a certain period of time. Just regular stacking stuff, having some gold and silver with you. I vault most of my stuff far away from my house because I show my face and I have a YouTube channel, and we have robberies in our neighborhood, which is just wonderful. And they break safes. So, I either got to go spend $10,000 on a safe, or I've got to vault it somewhere else. And get, like a jeweler safe, which is like hardcore. And if you forget the code, you're never getting into the thing.
What would you say a regional bank? What would you consider a regional bank? And that's going to be a smaller.
Yeah. So, the banks that are national are really like your top 6 or 7 banks. Everything after that is going to be regional. I don't want to name any specific names. I work with,
for example, my husband happens to work for a regional bank.
Yeah. So a regional bank is one that is probably, it's not in every state.
Regional. So I'll say his is in New England. So yes. that's the region, and East Coast, so, New England.
When you're talking about your big 5, those guys, those are national banks. You're going to have your regional banks. The reason the regional banks are at risk is they have a lot of loans out on commercial real estate, and the commercial real estate is not doing super well right now because people are spending less at stores. And
I would say that's regional as well, though, right?
It is very regional. And then the other issue is office space. There's a lot of office space that people aren't returning to, which is also regional. If you live in the suburbs, you're less affected by it.
Right.
If you live in a downtown city like New York or Los Angeles, you're going to be more affected by it, at least in your area. And a lot of those banks, as you guys know, they only have to hold anywhere from about 10 to 2 pennies of every dollar you give them in deposits. And a lot of them have been taking a good chunk of that and putting that into bonds, and
that's true. And that's why they'll say too, like the commercial lenders make the money for the bank, and then the depositor, right?
They do. So think of this, Nick. If you owned a bank and I owned a office building in New York, if all of a sudden 50% of the people don't come into the office anymore, and the companies decide they don't want to pay me anymore. About every 3 years, I have to get a new interest rate percentage.
Mm-hmm.
So I might be going from a 3% loan up to 8%. And if my building is not very occupied, it may not be worth it financially for me to hold on to the building. I may decide to give it back to you. If I give it back to you and I was paying you $1 million a month in income, right, from interest, and maybe some principal on that, you no longer have that $1 million coming in, and you have a building you can't sell. And that's the risk that the regional banks have, is that they start to have too many of those situations. And then all of a sudden, the people in the chat go to the bank and they say, hey, I'd like to get some cash out. And you start to have a run on the bank situation. So I'm not saying you guys have to take everything out. I'm not saying there's going to be a big run on it, or we're going to see a massive collapse right now. It's possible.
But
what's going to happen.
There also is a difference in a shareholder bank and one that's not owned by the shareholders.
Yes.
So personally, my husband's bank is not shareholder owned. And it's not a credit union. So they are more financially sound because they're not trying to go on what they want to make the shareholders, on how much money they're going to make the shareholders. So that's going to be a little bit healthier than the shareholder bank.
For sure. And the other thing I'll just throw out to you guys too, because this is something I think you do need to go check, is it's important to check and make sure that your accounts are FDIC insured.
Absolutely.
I forget the term for credit unions, but it's like MCUA or whatever.
It's similar, but it is a little bit, yeah.
You want to check that. High interest accounts. Yeah, if you guys have high interest accounts that are paying higher than, like, say, 2.5%, double check those. A lot of those are not FDIC insured. They're just money markets, and they're using different tools or investments to get that return higher for you. Check those, because if your bank does fail, you could have a problem with getting your money out that's more than $250,000. Now, maybe none of us in the chat or anybody listening to this has more than $250,000 at a bank. If you do, you could lose that. And even if it's below that, you can have an issue where the bank goes down, and if the Fed doesn't have the money, and there's too many of them that happen at the same time, the Fed may not have the money to pay out the FDIC insurance in a timely fashion. Yeah. They don't have any requirements to pay that out quickly. It can take years and decades, from what I hear. But with that said, we're all stackers, right? So we should be kind of diversifying our portfolio of wealth, and kind of be looking out for that. So I still have cash at my bank because I've got to operate, and I don't want to have too much with me in any one period of time. But I do spread it out, so I've got multiple things that I use.
And so my husband's profession, we know what that is, and I can say that we do our own stacking of food and lead and silver and gold and etc., and don't keep all our cash in the bank. It's not home. Yeah. I'll say that it's not here, but we'll just say it's not held up in the banks, because that is one thing that is computers. If they go down, you can't get into your bank account. You can't even get into your safety deposit box if the computer systems were to go down, because a lot of them are by handprint or so you've got to know how to get your hand on stuff, and that's not uncommon. I mean,
I agree. And if you're not holding it at your home or in another location that you have access to that is not, like Nick's saying, going through all these digital biometric stuff, right? You do have third-party risk if it's held somewhere else. Okay. I have third-party risk using a vaulting facility. But to me, it's less of a risk than having the bank hold it in other places. So, you got to look out for that. But the last thing I'll just say about this too is, I think the smart thing for everybody is to, is to diversify yourself a little bit on these things. Okay. A lot of people say, if you don't hold it, you don't own it. Yeah, kind of technically. It just depends on how bad things get. And here's the other thing too. You're not necessarily going to need all your stack right at once either. So I'm not totally worried about that. Okay, what do we have? You need to diversify your NFL
coin. You're gonna go far. Yeah, as long as you have this, and guess what? I do.
Well, here's one last thing I'll just rub to, the crypto fans out there. First off, I'm not going to completely beat down on crypto and say it's, the devil and you can't own any of it and it's horrible. What I will tell you is crypto is the Wild West. So if you're into volatility, that's a place that you might want to play in. But if you're not into volatility, you got to be very careful with it. But when you're looking at things like that, people always say you can't move very much silver or gold. And then they want to bring up this whole international thing. I don't know about you, but I don't ever send money overseas.
I don't either. And
like in my own state or maybe a state or two away. I'm never like, that is not a good argument for me to go overseas. And if you're worried that you have to leave the country and go hide in another country, we're on a whole different playing field. Like that's not something I'm looking at either. But you can have coins like the one Nick has that can hold a tremendous amount of value.
This has so much value. You guys don't even understand. I mean, I'm surprised I'm even showing people. I probably should just like buy. I should get AI to protect this for me.
There you go. She's going to make a fake replica and put that in the framed box, and that one's going to go in some underground facility.
Yes, vaulted. I'm serious about that.
So Constitutional Stacker, he does send money overseas. So if you send money overseas, you may want to do, you may want to look at some crypto stuff because that can be easier for you to do.
And the same thing with crypto though as well. It's like if the computer systems go down, are you going to be able to get your crypto? How is that going to work?
So you want to diversify that. So look, now I've got friends that are big Bitcoin guys and they say, yeah, but it doesn't go, you don't lose it. Okay, well, what if you have no electricity in the United States for a year or 6 months or, a week even? Just a week on its own could be something that definitely throws off your game. It doesn't have to be a major time. And then the other thing I would throw out there too is I'm getting paper statements again from my banks. I want to be able to have a pretty recent statement.
Okay. I'm sorry, Surfer. I know this is important, but I mean, seriously, SPB. I thought this when I saw AI, I was thinking, oh, it's going to be a really great comment for Surfer to see. And then I see this. I mean, are you kidding me right now?
Oh gosh. So, well, here's the real thing though, Nick. Is the coin serrated on the edges or is it possibly shaved?
It's smooth. I don't know. I can't see really good.
That's smooth.
But I will when I get my white gloves out, I will take this out and then I'll show you guys again because I will be showing you guys multiple times.
Is it an ounce?
This is gonna be my new picture on my. I mean, this is gonna be like the.
There you go. Hey Nick, does it say an ounce on there? You might have to measure that. Make sure that they didn't.
It's not silver. It's not an ounce of silver. I don't know what it is. All I know is it's a bunch of awesomeness. That's what I could say this is.
So that might be, that's going to be a priceless thing. But what I will throw out there is it is possible to get a gold coin that's worth $1 million. And it doesn't even have to be an ounce and you can move that stuff pretty easily. So anyway, that's my last
part. I'm with him. So that's why.
What percentage of cash should people have at home? So
at home, like in your safe?
Yeah. So here's my rule of thumb. Okay. So not financial advice, but maybe, my philosophy on this. So, my first thing is you can't eat cash. You can't eat gold. You can't eat silver. You can't eat gasoline. You can't eat Q-tips, whatever you have at your house. I think you need to be really secure. I would say somewhere in the range of 3 to 6 months of food storage. If you can't afford that, then start off with a couple days, work your way up to a week or two. Oh my gosh, they're just going to troll you all night.
And I'm sorry because I have things I want to say and it's serious stuff, but I mean they keep distracting me. I'm so sorry, Surfer. He said we're going to stream with me again because I mean it is important stuff. Now, what were you saying? What was your answer?
So here's my answer. First off, I would focus on having some extra food stuff at home. So. You guys, I filmed a video 1.5 years ago that I have not put out yet, and I need to just edit it and get it out there. But you can go and make food that will last 30 years, buying some Mylar bags off of Amazon and going and buying 25-pound bags of food from Costco. Okay, you can make food, and you can make like, I'd have to look at it, but I think it's going to be around 100 pounds of food for $50. Somewhere around there. Don't quote me on the exact amount, but you can make some food that'll last a very long time, store it the right way. And that's the first thing I would do. The second thing I would look at is if things go really crazy and go out for 3 days or a week, or, you know, we've got a war or terrorism or something else that's going, I think it's good to have probably about 2 weeks to 4 weeks worth of cash on hand to pay your expenses, you know, so you don't necessarily need to buy food if you have your food storage, right? So you're just looking at things like getting gas. You're looking at things like, I don't know, potentially
Well, it
pulling.
would be good to have gas on hand, you know, in gas cans,
Yeah,
right?
I can't store it here. It's not like allowed in California
Oh,
to store it
well,
very
see, we
easily.
do, and we have a generator, so we always make sure we
Yeah.
have plenty of
So
gas,
that's good.
and 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 in our household, we want to at least have this is minimum 3 months of funds that we could pay our bills, you know, buy, you know, our well, not wants, but our needs.
Yep.
So at least 3 to 6 months if you're able to have that
If
contingency
you're able to do that,
fund.
I think that's great. And then I'd even go a step further. If you have the ability to stack a year's worth of funding for your needs, your bare minimum needs, for me, I think you can have half of that in cash, and I think you can have half of that in precious metals.
Absolutely. Also, we do this is going to be so rich for you guys. Let's listen. We do my Patriot supply, but that's the food. And I mean,
I wouldn't expect anything else
I
different.
know, right? I should have probably put one of those buckets up here. And you know what? I'll do a giveaway. They got a great meal pack where you can do some, you know, just taste the stuff. And it's kind of fun. We would, you know, we would go when we go camping or whatever.
Yeah.
I camp, but not really. I'll explain that one day. But when I'm out with my family until I come home that night, I go camping and we'll try and open the food, the freeze dried stuff. And it's pretty good, but it's fun to try. So
It
I'll
is
do that
pretty
as
good.
a giveaway.
I have some of that. That's what you want to eat first. It tastes better, but I also want to store more of my stuff, and I can do beans and rice for pretty inexpensive.
Yeah, we do that as well.
But yeah, I need to do that on mine too. Like there's a ton of stuff on Amazon. I'll probably set up an Amazon affiliate link here soon. I'm in the process of monetizing right now, so I'm starting to set up channel memberships, and super chats are live now and other stuff like that. So I'm just trying to get that stuff kind of ready. But there's some great deals on Amazon right now where you can buy, I think it's Mountain House that has a lot of stuff on sale, or maybe Augustin Farms is one. And then For Patriots is another one out of Utah that I've heard a lot about.
Oh, okay. So I've heard that one too. That they get confused because
Yeah, so I want to try a few of these first, and then
and we've had really good experience with my Patriot supply, and it's also. But I also wanted to try the company that you're speaking about as well. I do not hunt, but if I'm hungry and I got desperate, I would hunt. And I just living in the area where we have excellent game up here that we could hunt. So, and we also have and water is going to be important as well, right? And we do have a stream in fresh water and river feeds it. So,
yeah, so I Constitutional Stacker. I don't have any Mountain House, but that's a name I know that's out there. I haven't bought any of that. Recently, I bought some maybe 15 years ago and gave it to my sister when we moved. Well,
oh, that's interesting.
8 years ago, I gave her all my food storage when I moved because she needed it more than I did. She has a big family and doesn't have, her husband's a police officer and they don't have as much fun.
Oh,
So
that's
a
nice.
massive stack of food. And then we've got gluten allergies and peanut allergies in my house. So we've had to do more things like rice and beans. A lot of the freeze-dried stuff isn't going to work for us. So anyway, with that, each of these companies is a little different how they pack it, the price. You got to look at the pricing and the amount of calories too to make sure you're getting what you think you're getting.
Yeah, there was another thing too. It's called Jace Case, and they have antibiotics, and you can actually your first order you get free antibiotics and antibiotics that come with it, and then also the first aid kit because all of that's going to be important. But I think that's going to be all part of that, plus having cash on hand.
I think so too. And the other thing I'll throw out there, being a religious dude, is I think there's going to be times for miracles. I think there's going to be times for faith, and I think there's going to be times for community to pull together. And so what I don't want people doing is freaking out and worrying about how crazy things may get. Do what you can to get prepared start watching some videos, start learning about it, and do what's in your budget. Do not go take out a massive loan to go buy, a year's supply of food storage. I don't recommend doing that, but get yourself prepared, kind of dollar cost average into it, just like you are with metals. And then from there, you have what you can have, and the rest of it, you guys are going to figure out by pulling together if things really get hairy.
Yeah.
Yeah, 50-pound bags. So I think that's what I have. I've been using I'll show you guys when I get my video finished. It's the largest family-owned farm in the United States that I have that brings me in semi-trucks these massive bags of food. I've got 4 big bags of oatmeal. So I might even, maybe I'll do that as part of a live stream one of these nights where I'll open one up and show you guys how to make it. It's like really simple and easy. And it can also be used for barter too. I guarantee you I'll be able to get more value for a bag of oatmeal, a 5-pound bag of oatmeal, than you guys are for a silver, 10-ounce bar. I bet they'll go for the same amount if people are hungry.
Hey, Flag City, it's good to see you. And I read a comment, I think that it said something about, yes, we do have very strict game laws and hunting laws in this area, but if it's a situation to where I'm having to hunt myself or we're all hungry, we're having to hunt, I don't think those are going to really be in play.
No, so I got to call it now. It's Knox Stack. He is my first super chat. Thank you, Knox.
Oh,
look at that. I guess it's turned on now.
awesome.
I didn't know if it was
That's
on
great.
yet. That'll help us with some of the stuff.
Oh, so is it say soap bars good for barter? Well, I do. Good night, Tuli. I hope you have a good evening. Thank you for joining us. I do have a stocked basement of toilet paper, Clorox bleach wipes, and bleach, but I always have had enough and over enough. So during COVID, I probably could have, had auctions for toilet paper.
Well, so let's talk. I have a last thing I want to wind up
in a second. So thank you.
Oh, Tuli, thank you so much.
That's thank you.
So one of the things I have one last thing I wanted to say, and then I probably need to wind down and go help with the family in a minute here. So 2 things. Can you eat coyote? Because we have a lot of these around here. If I have to, I will shoot one.
Well, I mean, if you're hungry enough, right? I mean, why not?
So you guys will have to put in the comments if coyote's any good. I won't eat my dog, but coyote's like wild, right? I don't know. Or maybe
we have black bear up here too, and the black bear season was just in season, and I don't like it. I don't like the bear, but a moose, we called him Harold. My husband got a moose one year, and Harold was so good for at least a couple years.
Yeah, Ellie says no. I'll have to. The neighbors will get the coyote. How's that? That's what I'll trade them.
Ever seen a fat coyote? That's true.
Yeah,
that's
we'll
true.
call it beef jerky. I don't know.
Black bear's okay.
Okay, so here was my last that I kind of wanted to just throw out to you guys is something to just be thinking about that's been on my mind, and I'm still trying to figure out how to articulate this and put it into a video. But how many of you sold your American Silver Eagles in the summertime when they were going for like close to $40? Put a 1 down if you sold your American Silver Eagles and made bank and bought them lower now. Put a 2 if you did not sell your American Silver Eagles and you kind of wish you did, and put a 3 in there that you're glad you didn't sell and you're happy. I like to see what you guys put in there. And it's the same thing like Nick's talking about. Let's say we have another shutdown again for some pandemic or whatever reason they do. If you happen to have like 100 rolls of toilet paper, if you can sell a roll of toilet paper for $5 or $10, would you do it? And should you, right? So the thought I've been having is when we have these spikes, we keep thinking things are just going to keep skyrocketing and they're not going to stop. It happens with crypto. How many people sold their Bitcoin at $65,000?
Yeah.
17. Not very many. Most of them.
Hi, Silver Sacks. Okay, so I've put a little bit of thought into that because I do have plenty.
Tell us.
So I wouldn't want to gouge people, but why not? Capitalism. I mean, right?
I had an Amazon store where we were selling. I had a license with one of the wholesalers for Hasbro, and I bought like 50 Darth Vader lightsabers.
Right. So
and I had them listed they bought them for 80, and I had them listed for $150. The people that had them listed lower sold out first. Then mine sold out in 2 days before Halloween, and then people were still selling them for $400 or $500.
I think there's a difference between being very greedy and just trying to make a buck to, you know, to support your family or to help your family. And I think a lot of that goes along too with being charitable. I mean, I think it is a balance. So yeah, I probably would sell my toilet paper on the side of the road if I had to, but I wouldn't be charging, you know, 3, 4 times what I purchased it for, but you know, maybe
Yeah, but what
double.
if the supply is really, I mean, you know, what if you have something and the supply is really, really low?
Yeah.
You know, what is it worth? And so the other thing I'll throw out there is I do stack constitutional junk silver, and I think it's important to have in your stack,
Oh,
but I don't think it's going to be the first thing you're going to be bartering with. I think it's food, and then I think down the road when
I
there's
agree.
extra food around, then people will take silver for it. Otherwise, I think you're going to have a hard time. So if you think you're good because you just have constitutional silver and you don't need to do the food thing, I think you're going to regret that one. But
Well, I think it's a
we have
balance. It's a
so we have
balance of everything.
it looks like SP. Okay, 2 people. Sean. Oh no, maybe it was just Sean. Sean's the only one that made some bank off of selling some eagles. The rest of us either missed the opportunity. There's a fair amount of those, and then there's a handful of them that just are going to stack. They're not selling. So one thing I will throw out there though is kind of think about it. A lot of us are not flippers. A lot of us are just stackers, but I kind of do both. And I did contemplate doing it. And had I done it, I'd be able to buy my eagles quite a bit less than what I sold them for.
But it's hindsight is 2020 though as well. We didn't
It
know
is.
that the prices
So
were going to be this
could
low on
you
eagles.
take, you know, let's say, could you take 3% of your eagles, or 10% of your eagles, or 20% of them and sell them and make a little bit? You possibly could. So that's something just to think about. And what happened? What do we get here?
Hi, the pizza guy. OC Stacker again. I think I
We've made a monster by mentioning the super chats now. OC Stacker, thank you for the super chat.
I do. Do you want to address this? Because I do want to address this after you do.
Okay, let's see what we got here. Should you buy a new or 2-year-old truck now, or wait for prices to really collapse? Sort of like Eagle question. Silver Heist. It is a good question. So first question comes down to, do you need it right now? If you need it right now, you buy it right now.
Yeah, agreed.
Don't sit there and wait, because it could take longer than you think it's going to take for those things to correct. The other thing I would say is, if you don't need it, I would hold off. Right now is not a good time to be making any big purchase in my mind. And I'd rather hold the cash.
Yeah, I'd rather not have a payment if I didn't have to.
If you start seeing some signs that hyperinflation is starting to kick in, then you might want to move on it faster. But right now, I'd hold cash. Cash is king right now. And I'm in the process of trying to get a bigger stockpile of cash at the moment, versus like trying to stack metals like crazy. I feel like I'm okay there. I just need to get more cash at the moment.
Myself and my flip coin would like to ask Silver Heist, why is he talking about Toyotas when we know he's got a Subaru?
Oh no.
I'm just teasing. I tease them because, you know, I'm sure you guys have all seen Subarus now, but when I was growing up, it was pretty much a New England thing, snow thing, and my mom always had those Subaru wagons. And in the 80s, they were the ugliest cars. So I will never, and they're cuter now, sort of. And we have a nickname for them up in the New England area, but I'm not going to tell you what that is. So I tease them about a Subaru. But I did learn how to drive a standard on a Subaru myself.
We've got a Subaru in our household, and it's a pretty good vehicle.
Okay.
You
go back and look what they looked like in the 80s.
It's a pretty decent vehicle.
Yeah, they weren't the brown, the yellows that they had, and
back then, no. The newer stuff's pretty good. You can get a lot of the safety features on it for a kid at a good price right now. Especially if you're in snowy area, you can get
it's 4-wheel drive, and that's exactly why my dad wanted my mom to have those when we were growing up, is because 4-wheel drive in the snow. They were one of the first cars to have that option. So
hey, Joseph, welcome. And we've got
Hi, Joseph.
I don't know if we called out the pizza guy.
I did say hello to the pizza guy. Yeah.
So, you know, in reality, guys, a lot of the stuff that we're talking about, you're going to have to weigh it on your own and see what's going to be best for you. But
oatmeal's a good one.
So oatmeal's a good one, but it is the peasant food, guys. Oatmeal is the
Oh,
peasant. I have quite a bit of it stacked. Oatmeal I stack for barter. I don't stack it to eat myself.
my mom had one of those too.
So I stack black beans, pinto beans, red beans, kidney beans, white rice, and then I'll do a lot of freeze dried for my meats and other meals. And then I stack oatmeal to trade with people. If I need to, I'll eat it too. But it can have a lot of mold and other issues in it, just in general. But it is peasant food, so if you want to be a peasant, oatmeal's good. But it's cheap, so still stack it. It's good to get.
Oh my gosh. Whoops.
Okay, what do we got here?
Well, that's a good one. JP Morgan.
Well,
Is that right? Because they reported the record profits in the past couple months. They had record number of profits.
But the problem with the banks, Nick, isn't going to be profits; it's going to be liquidity.
That's true.
So, here's what I'll tell you guys too. So,
Freaking wicked! It's wicked.
I guess the thing I'll tell you guys is, diversify your where your funds are, is maybe the best way to put it. But we could see some banking issues, big banking issues. I don't want to be the guy that comes on here and tells you the banks are going down tomorrow, pull all your cash out, because that actually makes it happen. But
and that's what fear causes that. But I don't see all of them happening overnight. They may not all be healthy, but I mean, how long would you think it would take for all the banks to fail? Really?
Well, so it's a cascading thing. So if you were to hear that a large regional bank, okay, had a run on the bank, all they have to use is the term "run on the bank," and you got problems. People will start going to their banks pretty fast. So. By the way, there's been a lot of bank failures already this year that you guys don't even know about. I think there's been quite a few. I'm noticing bank signs disappearing, and you see a new one on there. And so they're slowly happening right now, and they're not telling you about it, and they're calling them mergers.
Okay, so yeah, so we've had a lot of those where people's and
bank failures, but what they're doing is they're merging them right before they fail. So they're getting down to liquidity, and they're doing that. And then a lot of the banks are going and pulling money out of the discount window.
And they did that in 2008 as well, the merger.
They did. So what'll probably happen if we have this happen is you're going to have a Friday where a bank has a massive problem. And then you're going to wake up on Monday and the bank's going to be closed and people are going to freak out over it. And you're going to start to see people lining up at the bank to get their money out. And then there's going to be some rumor. Someone puts on a text message that goes out there and says, hey, one of the other banks is going down, and you're going to start having people try to pull their money out. So you could have a very fast cascading effect of days to a couple weeks, to where a lot of them.
And it's very unexpected. So my husband did work for a bank that happened to in 2008, and they knew what was going to happen. The staff kind of knew. So the feds come in on Friday afternoon, 5:00, shut the doors, and no one is to leave that bank until they have logged and they have cataloged everything. That means you don't take family photos home. You don't take anything home with you. It has got to stay at that bank. And thank God he didn't lose his job, but a lot of the executives do at that point. And he happened to be one of those ones that were helping with the transition, so he was able to stay on.
And I've got personal experience with that too, that I'm not quite ready to share on the intrawebs yet, but I can tell you that is true, and I can tell you that it can happen very quickly when you're not expecting it. What we've seen so far is we've seen banks that lend to people that have a lot of influence get bailed out, and they're not supposed to. There's also a thing called bail-in, where you could end up with basically private stock in these banks that you don't want, that you can't liquidate in lieu of your deposits.
A lot of these banks are fragile right now due to these high interest rates, because it's opening the doors, and people are seeing, or they're realizing how mixed managed they are. They weren't even managed well. I mean, that one in California, I mean, it does. I hate to say this, but it deserved to fail because it was managed so poorly.
It did, but guess where all the billionaires put their money?
In that bank, but that's their problem. They should have been smarter.
It is, but who are their friends? Follow the money.
Mm.
So
But that's
they
why
got
they were bailed out, so to speak, though, right?
that took most of the FDIC insurance.
Yeah,
So you got to worry about that a little bit. But
right.
with that said, it's possible that we don't have a problem, right? But it's also possible we have a massive cascading problem that can happen too.
We also have, yeah.
You gotta kind of prepare for the scenarios and
Mhm.
then step back and go live life and enjoy it.
And,
Because you
and
don't
I don't think you're wrong. I think there's going to come a time where a lot of these banks are going to fail, but we will. I think it's going to fade slowly, and then eventually we'll be left with at least three major banks, and then possibly one major bank, and we all know what that one will be.
and that one I have a hard time seeing them not bail that out. So I think you're gonna have a lot go down, and then you're gonna have the too big to fail.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and if I give my real opinion, I call it consolidation of markets. I think what you're going to see is a lot of consolidation that goes on. And unfortunately, it's not going to be great for my job. If
Yes.
you see major consolidation, Surfer may be looking for another job if that happens. So, it's not something I want to have happen, but it could happen.
Yeah.
But, we've just talked about all the ways to prepare for it. So you guys really shouldn't be freaked out. Just, start
No,
taking
and
some.
it's not about fear either. It's just about being prepared, but we all should be prepared for anything to come anyways. And that's even like with weather. I mean, we could have a storm come through and not be able to get into our banking system because the computers are not working. So, I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean everything has to fail for us not to be able to get our funds or we need food.
Exactly. And I mean, the reality is we live in a world where we're consolidating everything. We're down to a few airlines that matter, right? There's a couple little tiny ones that don't do a whole lot. I think the people in charge of things want to see a few banks because it makes it easier to get agendas out there. We got a few of everything. So I think you're going to see a lot more of that go down. I think the other issue you're going to see is
Yeah.
they don't necessarily force things, so to speak, but they don't let a crisis go to waste. So if they start seeing things happen, that can be a thing of, oh, let's do this. Or, don't be surprised if you see a rug pull and we have like 1 to 2% interest rate increases that it freaks everything out that no one was expecting. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying things like that can happen that you're not planning on. And it could be due to some crazy inflation that goes on because of something that we're not thinking of. So you got to kind of watch out for those things. And then, okay, what do we have here?
Yeah, I wanted you to see this comment.
Yeah, so no one's talking about FedCoin, no one's talking about CBDCs anymore, no one's
It's
talking
funny he
about.
says that because it's true. I haven't heard about it in a long time.
Yeah, so here's what I'm going to tell you guys. Too many of us are awake now to talk about a CBDC and have us download the app and start using it, in my opinion. So I think what's going to happen is you've got to have a crisis come up where the only way to get stimulus is to download an app and get your stimulus payment through the CBDC. And they probably won't call it FedCoin. They'll probably call it something else like a digital dollar. And it'll be the only way for you to get the stimulus. So you're either going to comply with it or not. And then from there, other games can get played on things. But I just don't, that's what they want, but I don't think they're going to be able to put it in place now that everybody's made a big deal about it.
But I mean, eventually that could come though when you get your IRS refund to have that IRS refund or your welfare. I mean, I don't know what you call them, but your handout.
So they can very easily come out with this. They can basically come out and say, okay, hey guys, here's what we're going to do. You want your Medicaid, Medicare stuff. It's coming through this way. You want your Social Security. It's coming through this way. You want tax return. It's coming through this way. That's the only way we're paying the tax return. They can come out and say, this is the way we're doing stimulus, right? So it doesn't have to be for everything. It can just be for some big things. And then the question is, what can you then turn around to use that money on? And it may be that it works at grocery stores and places like Amazon, but it may not work at a coin store, right? So my biggest concern is when something like that comes out, it's just a matter of time before it gets harder for them to tinfoil Tuesdays. It can get harder for them to do stuff. So yeah, you guys, look, it might be tinfoil, but it really may not be. So here's the deal with anything in life, you got to look at percentages. So if you think there's a 10% chance this stuff's happening, probably don't need to worry too much about it. But if you think there's an 80% chance of it happening, you probably should prepare a little bit more in your mind. So I'm not going to tell you guys what's going to happen because I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. You know, I feel like I'm way too early to doing a lot of this stuff, and it could take a lot longer. But that COVID thing came so fast, I was not expecting it.
And that's just it. We didn't think that we would be shut up in the house during COVID. I mean, everybody kept saying, "Oh, they're going to start." You know, we never thought that could happen, and it did. We never
Yeah.
thought the supply lines were going to be, as slow as they were, and they still are.
And I'm not even going to go into the alien invasion stuff. If you see aliens invading, I don't even know. I'm not
I
even
mean,
going to that right now.
you never know because they're having, Congress. They're talking to it about in Congress. So
They're talking about stuff. So I wouldn't put anything past anybody anymore. And deep fake and who knows what's real anymore. But the reality is you got to take care of your family, and you got to figure out who you can trust in your neighborhood and who you can chat with and who's like-minded. Those are going to be your most important.
I, for one, will never have to have that because I don't get a tax refund because we don't overpay with our paychecks. We pay what we're supposed to pay, and at the end, we owe zero. So, and they owe us zero. So I'm not going to
It is a great way to do it.
Because I mean, until the government starts paying me interest, I'm not going to overpay within my paycheck or my husband's paycheck.
I agree. The sad thing is I almost pay as much to California as I do to my federal, which is insane.
Well, they used to call, HICE is in here, but I know Maine state taxes are wicked high, but they used to call Massachusetts Taxachusetts.
Yeah.
And they get a nickname for those drivers as well.
If you make enough money, you go up to like, I think it's up to 15 or 16% in California.
Oh, geez. I mean,
it can get nuts.
And what your gas is what at $6 right now?
If you go to Costco, you might be able to get it for like $5.50. A lot of the other places are pretty close to
It's
$6.
Still expensive.
In Northern California, we refine a lot of the gas here in LA. You go up to Northern California and they got to ship it up there. They're like $6.50.
Can we bring this back to the important stuff now? How much do you think I can get this? How much gas do you think I can get with this thing?
Well, look, here's the deal with anything like that, guys. Let's just say it's 1 ounce of silver, right, Nick? Let's just pretend it's a 1 ounce.
I mean, it's worth so much more than that, though, Surfer.
Here's the thing with all of this stuff, guys. I
and I'm just
need to have a diverse stack when it comes to gold and silver investing or stacking. You don't want to have to sell that, right? That's going to be the last thing
Absolutely not, ever.
But if you're hungry and someone's willing to take it for, a loaf of bread, you may do it at some point, but you don't want to have to get there. So it's important to have very inexpensive silver. I think it's important to have silver that holds its value, which is like the Spider-Man coins and a few things like that. That can be a part of your stack and it's kind of fun. It probably shouldn't be a big part of it. And then for me, I like stuff that's also historical that they're not making any more of, which, constitutional meets that for both sides, right? Not making any more of it. And it's fairly inexpensive silver and it's in small quantities, but Morgan and Peace dollars can be great if you can get your hands on them.
I love my Walking Liberties. I can't.
Yep.
Oh, okay. So he said he missed what coin this was. So I have to answer the question. Okay. It is and
I need to call it a night here in a minute.
Okay. A New England Patriot flip coin, but it was game used on the field. 2021.
So how many of you have one of those?
And the only thing that I'd probably give away is this schedule that they sent me that it's a magnet.
There you go. She's going to sign it.
No, I'm not, because this is the worst season that I can remember in a long time. So I don't want to put my name onto this. Yeah,
well, so here's the thing, guys. Go out there and try to see if you can find one of those coins and how much they're going for. There you go.
But now that I give you all my tips,
I'm going to tell you how to get. Don't tell them how to get one. Just go to see if you can even find one of those on eBay. I bet there's been one that's sold before, but I bet you can't find one.
I've just recently found some because my intention was not to get one from the New England Patriots. My intention was to ask them, where can I find one? And they do have several that not the Patriots, but like the Jets are selling a couple right now for charity, and nobody wants those anyways.
You got a $1 bin so far. It looks like they're starting to bid on this thing. We probably need to down before
we'd be here all night long if you're going to start at 1. Because if you ever overpaid for something, you're going to overpay for this.
Would you trade Nick, would you trade How do I throw it up there? How did you do that? Oh, there we go. What about this?
Trade your sister for a newer. No, because I got my coin now. I mean, no. Ask me again in a year or so. Go Steelers. Hi, John Jacobs.
All right, last one I'm going to throw in here, guys. This is important here too. So,
Yes.
you need to keep cash, unless you're planning on, if you really want to sell your silver at the wrong time potentially. But you need to keep some cash on hand to make sure you pay your property taxes if it's not rolled into a mortgage payment already, and then also your insurance that's going to come up for the next year. And living here in California, those are some pretty hefty fees that I have to pay. Jets are dead to me. Gosh.
Jets who?
Oh my gosh. Oh, you got $2 now. It's up to bin $2. Nick.
Oh, please. That's so insulting to the New England Patriots.
eBay says $20 for the coin.
Are you kidding me? No, they didn't know.
You guys, look, if it really says $20, don't tell her that. You're going to break her heart.
No, I'm going to go look now because seriously, if it was that easy, do you think that I would be sitting here bragging about my flip coin?
That would be horrible.
I have done some research on this. It's not.
We're up to $25 now. Or maybe it's $25. It doesn't say bin, so it could be $25. They found it. All right. We're gonna keep the coin off, guys. I don't want to ruin Nick's night. She's
nothing can ruin this night because I just know that it probably is not a real officially game used flip coin.
Yeah. So also a Super Bowl may be different because I think Nick was saying that they do like 20,000 of those.
Oh yeah, the Super Bowl is much different. They will do they give like 20,000 and the first 100 they give to the NFL. So I mean that's different. Yes, you can find tons of the Super Bowl ones, but when you come up with it has to say game coin kickoff, and then
then you're going to have the COA. So the COA is going to come back and hopefully tell you which game it was.
Yes. Well, yes, and Robert Kraft's going to sign it, so you know it's going to be a legit.
So if it happens to be a better game, that might have some more value to it too. And then Randy said $10.
Oh, Randy, of course he did.
Okay,
go Pats.
Okay.
Yeah, this is Kevin's here. Woohoo!
Okay, Nick, I'll be everyone's bid. I'll give you all my Monopoly money. Okay.
Tiger, I'm so disappointed.
Tiger. You mean your gold backs? I'm just kidding. I get so many comments on the gold back videos, guys. I get comments on the gold backs of people like, you're so stupid. Why would you put any money into those? Because I can buy them for $3.65 and I can spend them at $4 value. That's why I would buy gold backs. I make money every time I use a gold back. That's pretty cool.
Why do I even put myself through it? I should see the orange and just realize, I should not read.
Okay, what did he put next? Okay. Yeah, you're not going to do that. All right, guys. Well, I would love to keep chatting, but my family's they try to get me to do about an hour on these things.
You can't get those silver heist. One of them goes to the team and then one of them goes into the NFL Hall of Fame. Told you I've done my stuff. I know.
It's going to be really, really rare.
Hide the newest coin. It's so rare, you guys. Just go with it. It's uber rare.
It says they show silver plated, Nick. So it's probably clad. Silver clad.
What this?
Yeah.
Oh, this isn't real silver. I mean, did anybody think it was?
No, on the outside, it's probably silver plated.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't really care. It just said the Patriots on it.
Yeah, it could be nickel with silver on the outside of it. So, but with anything like that, guys, I have stuff that's like, I don't know, I got as a kid that isn't silver, but still has a value of like $20 to it.
Well, this here, though, I don't know if you could put a number on it. No, I didn't know. No, I know for sure this isn't silver, you guys. I mean, the football players might be trying to steal it off the field if it was.
That's funny.
Oh, but you know what? I should probably go out there and do a toss with it to see how it, falls and to see if they could have maybe manipulated this coin a little bit, maybe to go on the, Patriot side a little bit more. Just kidding, because I know the Patriots would never.
In there.
The Patriots would never do that. Seriously, you guys.
Be careful.
I don't want to give them any ideas. Okay, well, I know you got to get going, and it's late in New England. It's 11.
You guys are up late.
Oh my gosh, it's almost midnight in New England. I just got carried away with my New England Patriot flip.
Well, it was fun, Nick. I enjoyed the chat.
Thank you. Yes.
Maybe it is Tinfoil Tuesdays. That would be kind of a funny show to do.
Send me a hat.
Honestly,
I'll make it my new crown.
The last thing with it, though, Nick, is we didn't cover anything that isn't like out of the mainstream media today.
Right.
It may not be talked about heavily right at the moment, but it has been in the past. And you guys, the reality is things are just crazy out there. So,
but it's coming.
Be ready for something crazy.
Flipgate coming soon. Oh my gosh, I'm really having fun with this chat tonight. I am having fun with you guys. Bye. See you Thursday.
See ya Thursday, guys.